Hello, this is Demon Phoenix with a first part of a new series that I'm going to be doing. Most people watching this probably know me as doing Witcher 3 guides and everything else, because that is my favourite game and I've been playing it for literally 1.5 years. So I just felt like coming to the end of my Witcher 3 walkthrough and needed something else to play, and I've already done the best build in my opinion for Witcher 3, so Final Fantasy X Remastered got released and I absolutely love Final Fantasy X. I'm not going to play 10-2, but Final Fantasy X is one of my favourite games. So with it being made and me having the opportunity to do some videos for it, I thought since I was playing through it, I might as well do a little bit of a, not a guide in the strictest sense, because it won't go over the basics of the game or anything like that. But what I like to do when I play games is I like to find some of the sort of legal exploits, everything that's not a glitch, be as strong as possible, and that's what I really enjoy with games. So with Final Fantasy X, when I'm watching people play it on Mixer and things like that, there are a lot of inefficiencies that people sometimes do, or things that they don't realise. Now a lot of this is common knowledge, it's things that have been around since the PS2 days, things from game FAQs, a couple of other players on YouTube and everything like that. So some of it's nothing revolutionary, but there are some things that I feel that I do that are quite efficient and can save people a lot of time, particularly when it comes to early game, and especially with the stat maxing. If you are going to be doing break HP limit, there is not a lot of cause for doing break HP limit, but some people like it to try and get that 99,000 hit points, and there's a lot of things that can be done to improve the efficiency of how you do late game, particularly with getting magic spheres, getting the HP spheres, and the order that you do late game things in. So I thought I would just have a bit of a bash at doing it like this. I may do an expert sphere grid version of it in the end, but for this particular one I'm going to be doing the standard sphere grid. Now some of the things that I'm going to involves, for one particularly OP aspect of it, it involves playing a league when you get to a League of Blitzball when you get to Luca. So it's not compulsory, but that will be something that does help out a lot later. So just bear that in mind. One of the things is going to be playing a reasonable amount of Blitzball, because I love Blitzball. I'll be playing that in Luca. The reason you want to go standard sphere grid if you're wanting to consider break HP limit is that it has enough nodes to get 99,999 HP and still effectively max out your HP. So we're going with standard for here, and I'll branch off the guide a little bit later. First things first, I like to get some grinding done early in the game if it saves you time and makes you more powerful for later in the game. So what we do here in Zanarkand is the very first part of the game with the intro, is you can get some overdrive modes which make things a little bit easier for getting Tidus's overdrives. So you can see here, if you just knock out Orin first, then you will leave Tidus on his own, and they will basically allow you to get some overdrive modes which are Loner, Daredevil, and then also you can get Slayer by killing the enemies that won't attack you in this little bit later on. So what you do is you would knock out Orin, so it's just Tidus by himself, and then get Tidus to yellow health. Now in case you haven't figured it out, I do say Tidus instead of Tidus. I used to say Tidus, but I don't know which is right, but people seem to agree Tidus, kind of. Anyway, so if that annoys you, apologies, but there you are. Anyway, so you kill the first few, you get through to this bit where you have 3 enemies in front and 2 of these sin scales behind, and then you just repeatedly kill this guy on the left, and each turn spent by yourself and by in yellow health will count towards Loner and Daredevil, and you just saw me get Loner overdrive there, so obviously it takes quite a few turns. It's 60 turns to get Loner. If you keep doing it, after killing 100 enemies you will get Slayer. Now Loner and Slayer are the main ones. It does take 170 turns to get Daredevil, and Daredevil's not that good because they nerfed it, but if you want you can press Y to repeatedly guard until you get Daredevil as well. Now then you would use the Phoenix down to resurrect Orin, and he will catch up, and then you knock out Tidus. And then you do the same thing with Orin, so it takes 80 kills to get Slayer with Orin, and only 35 turns for Loner. So I'd definitely get Loner and Slayer with Orin as well if you have the patience. It takes 260 turns for Daredevil, and it's not really worth it getting Daredevil for him, so I didn't actually do it on this playthrough. You can always get it later when there are methods to get overdrive modes a little quicker. But getting Slayer and Loner is excellent for Tidus. So you see here that straight away, the first thing we do when we get control of Tidus again after he's been sucked up by Sin, is that we are going to switch to the Loner overdrive, because the first battle, or first couple of battles, have him as the Loner. So when you're on your own, Lona's an excellent overdrive mode. It gives you 16% overdrive every time it reaches your turn, which is absolutely loads. The only ones really comparable to that are things like Slayer. So Slayer is 20% every time you kill an enemy, and Slayer is really good as well. But whilst you're not killing the enemies in one hit, like here, you can use Lona. And one of the advantages of it is see here in the first encounter, Tidus has the overdrive called Spiral Cut, and he unlocks new overdrives by using his current overdrive. So when you use his first overdrive 10 times, you unlock Slice and Dice, which is extremely useful and quite powerful early on in the game. And you can basically use overdrives at will just by defending with Y, which means that you take half damage from physical attacks. So you can see here I'm just defending, and every time it reaches my turn because of Lona, I get a big chunk of overdrive. So in this very first fight, I can already have used the overdrive twice to kill 2 of the enemies, which triggers the cutscene and moves things along. So you can get the 10 uses of the overdrive extremely easily before you even get to Bhed. And you can go absolutely crazy if you want, and continue doing that with Slice and Dice to get Energy Rain, which is 30 uses of overdrive, and even Blitz Haste, which is 80. But I'm perfectly happy just doing it, getting Slice and Dice. So that first bit of farming the overdrive modes takes about 45 to 50 minutes roughly. So a little bit of grinding early on in the game, and then just gives you the opportunity to unlock these overdrives going forward and have those really powerful overdrive modes, which is a lot of fun. So there are 2 uses of the overdrive already, and then it will end that particular fight and go on to progressing the story. Now the next bit is you come to this Bhed boat after you've done the next few parts there, and you can actually get infinite potions here. If you talk to the Bhed nearest the save sphere, you can get 3 potions from him, dive in the water and then come back out and he'll give you another 3 potions. Do that as many times as you want. You also get the first of the Bhed primers there. So you can see here this is the same thing. In these fights you will have, this has spoilers throughout obviously because, you know, game's been out long enough, but you will have Riku with you in these fights, and you can have her use the escape command, so it still leaves Tidus on his own, and then you can use Lona to build up the overdrive modes, and again use Spiral Cut a load of times until you get Slice and Dice. So it's very useful. Now you can see there, instead of defending, I just pressed right to use weapon change, and the reason you can do that is sometimes if you look on the right where you have the ATB bar, that will let you get another turn, because the weapon change is the quickest action you can take. So there are different ranks of actions. A normal attack is rank 2, defend is rank 3, defend is rank 2, and weapon change is rank 1. So sometimes, because it takes such a short amount of time, it'll let you get in another turn and get Lona in there as well. So when you've used the overdrives enough times, anytime you get low on health, I mean, I was just being a bit cocky here and got extremely low on health, and also let Riku get knocked out so that it counts for Lona. See there, I got left with 3 HP, so I could say it's perfectly judged, but it was a little bit cocky, but never mind. And so I wouldn't recommend spending ages fighting these piranhas on the edge of the boat, maybe just until you've got Slice and Dice. So then you can always go back to the boat and use the save sphere, and the save spheres fully heal your HP and MP for all of your party members, so that's a very useful little thing to remember. You'll be using that a lot. When you're fighting the boss, you just throw grenades at him with Riku. Throw, say, 4 or 5 grenades like that. He has 2,200 health, and you want to overkill him if possible, because every time you overkill somebody, you get double the AP, so you can get more sphere levels and progress the characters quicker. So throw grenades with him at Riku. You can also steal grenades from the boss, who is called Tros, and then basically, when you've done enough damage, you want to be using Slice and Dice. So if you've got it as a Lona, you want to make sure that Tidus has his overdrive before you come into this little bit here, has a full overdrive, and save it for killing the boss to try and overkill him if you can. So what we're going to be doing is use Slice and Dice, finish him off, and I should overkill him there. Now the next part that I'm going to go on to is doing Bhed, and I'm going to be grinding a little bit there in Bhed as well, just to get Tidus haste, because we're going to use haste to farm the sin skills on the SS Licky, and that's going to be the big chunk of the early game grinding done, and will set you up very nicely for being extremely strong through this playthrough. So if you want to see more of these videos, then please like and subscribe, and I will just be playing this as something a little bit different, and looking forward to having something a little bit different on the channel as well. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it useful, and have a good day.